Presentation and possible direction regarding proposal to improve conditions at the animal shelter facilities, including new kennel pod structures and future administration building. Presentation made by Animal Services Manager Amanda Weddle and Construction Manager Alfonso Torres.
Good
You
morning.
need Al up there to press the button for you, Amanda.
Good morning. Al Torres, Construction Manager. Of course, Amanda, Animal Services Manager. Wrong presentation. Keep going. Yes, okay, so we're here to talk about the animal shelter that's located here. As you can see, it's out. Anybody not familiar with the animal shelter? Hopefully everybody's had a chance to be out there so they know what we're talking about. So, as you know, several years ago, or for a long time, we've had issues out at the animal shelter. And we started several years ago to look at different ways to improve conditions out there. We started with trying to improve the lab, then we added a garage and looked at an outdoor kennel. Then we said, no, let's fix the dog shelter itself, the large dog kennel. That seemed to be the area of largest concern. So we came up with a plan, hired engineers. We've been working on getting that improved. We were going to do a complete exhaust system for the entire facility, lower the ceiling in the large kennel, divide it into 3 smaller sections, install new trench drains, replace all the ceiling tiles everywhere, remodel the tame cat areas, update the processing room, and construct a new garage intake area. The primary issues were smell, noise, drainage, and so that's why we looked at improving those items. We've been working on plans for a couple of years now, but we've had issues with the fire alarm system, the electrical system. The transformer turned out to be undersized because of the shelter next door. And then the key issue, though, that's brought us to where we are today is a temporary facility to place our dogs while we were doing this construction. So at first we thought we could house them somehow through shelters and stuff, and then we thought, well, no, let's do a temporary facility off-site somewhere. We can move the dogs, and then once we're done, move them back. So we picked a site. We did some plans for that. Came up with we had a contractor price it for us. At first, it was going to be roughly $200,000, and then it turned out to be over half $500,000 to do this temporary facility. So we got together and decided for $500,000, why spend that on a temporary facility off-site that once we're done, it's going to be shut down, we won't be using it again. So why not build something on-site that we can use permanently that would help us out? So when we did that, staff got together and said, well, if we're going to do that, do some shelters, temporary shelters, let's make them permanent shelters. And they decided to shift to what we call a pod concept. So basically, this is something, and Amanda can probably explain a little bit better on what we're looking at.
So regarding the pods, you want to think of them as dorms. Each would house about 20 to 25 kennels that would establish outdoor-indoor areas for the dogs. These would improve the airflow for the animals as well as the humans. Sanitation would be easier, and it would reduce disease spread. You would have open airflow through guillotine doors. You would have outside access to sunlight, which also helps with health improvements of the animal. And overall, it's going to be less of a burden as far as maintenance, because you're not going to have one big system managing all 120 kennels. You're going to have 25 kennels per section. So if one section has an issue, you're not shutting down your whole system. You're only shutting down that pod. So looking at it, it is also the best practices that shelters are moving to nowadays, because it is opening it up for community involvement with the animals. It's not so abrasive going in. You don't have the stadium echo of the animals, so people want to come and see them. It also allows for outdoor play yards so that people can meet and greet in a open setting.
So essentially, what we were looking at was, go ahead. We have money already in place that was awarded for the improvement of the existing shelter. And we could go ahead and move forward with spending that money on improving that existing shelter. But essentially, we will still have what we have now. We have a system that's not really working as it should. So that's why we're looking at this new system that we think would be a much better system. So design phase, we think what we would like to do is move forward with the pods themselves. We're talking about 4 months of design work from the engineers. I've been visiting with them already on what we could do. Construction, phase one, we would look at, we believe we have the money to build 3 pods, possibly 4, but we're going to go ahead and look at 3 pods for phase one. Staff feels like 3 pods would get them a long ways towards taking care of the animals that we have there now.
So let's stop right there.
Yes.
What's the capacity of 3 pods? Or how much is the capacity of each individual pod, Amanda?
So looking at the size per kennel, each would probably be 24 runs. So 24 runs for animals to utilize. That's not to say that there couldn't be brothers and sisters or litters doubled up, and the total of the 4 pods, you would have 96 runs.
Awesome, thank you.
So in phase two would be the 4th pod, because our target is to have 4 pods total. And they could be built fairly quickly because the plans are already in place and everything. We would likely do an alternate bid with phase one, so that if we have the money, we could go ahead and build all 4 at once. And then phase 3, we would consider a new admin building, but that's, I think, down the road. The existing admin building, we could continue to use it. The main issue is the dog kennel area, and since we will have taken care of that, the rest we can kind of make do with until we make a decision on that. So again, like I said, we have a little over $2 million in available funds. That design admin cost really is, that's an error. It should be about $350,000. That $900,000 included designing and fees and permits for the large admin building as well. But that's a future thing, so I really should have changed that to $350,000. The pods themselves, 1.4 to 2 million. I got that price from a facility that we visited that has a similar system. Theirs is brand new. They had asked for a price on building another pod, and that's where I got, they shared that with me, so that's where I got this number. What I'm hoping is that the facility we visited had all the bells and whistles, and it was pretty fancy and had a lot of stuff that our staff feels we don't really need here. So we're hoping we can get it down to closer to the 1.5 million. So here's what will be phase one. We have the existing facility here, and the 3 new pods would be built here. You can see we're leaving space in between so that down the road, if we needed to build an admin building, we could do that here and then get rid of the other facility. So we would have the 3 pods, and phase 2 would be the 4th pod here. And as you can see in between, we have little outdoor shared areas that the public can bring a dog out and sit with the dog and meet with it and play with it and stuff and find out if they're adaptable or not. And these are just pictures of the facility we visited. So you can see the pods themselves are fairly simple buildings. They're little CMU buildings, and they each have this run of outdoor kennels that are accessible to the kennels inside with a guillotine door, so the dogs have free rein to go in and out, access to the outdoor air. And they have overhangs to give them some shade. And then we have these, which again are meet and greet areas. The ones here, each one was sponsored by a local business, so that's, you can do a little fundraising there for those. But it's kind of a nice shaded. This one's not shaded, but some of them had canopies and trees where you can again meet the dogs and play with them. So.
Al, do you mind on this? You said where will the pods be? Can you point to them there on the? Okay.
Sorry, I'm going backwards.
When you're looking at the overarching view, this is our barn right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the corral. The corral would go away. The trees would go away in the back portion of the staff parking lot. And then it would utilize that space for these pods. That would still give us room in the middle for our staff to continue to park and utilize the back entrance.
Yeah, that helps. I was just trying to visualize where it's going to be, what we have. So sorry for the interruption now. Please continue.
Actually, I believe that's all we had, unless you have more questions.
So we'll start, I see Daniel made a big move for the mic here, so let's
Yeah,
start with you, Daniel.
Mayor, I think that I want to make sure that on the actual picture of the facility that was visited, would you go back to that? And we have to understand right now that we have a facility that is no longer just a shelter, right? We've taken on the adoption portion of it. Would you talk a little bit about that, Amanda, how this setup right here really helps with that part of it?
Correct. Well, the first is appearance in general. When you are wanting to look at an animal, it is overwhelming to hear all the barking, the echoes,
Right.
the howlings, the whinings. And in addition to that, it is also overwhelming when you are going in there and you're smelling their urine, their feces, because the staff is actively cleaning all throughout the day. This is a twofold benefit. Number one, with them being outdoor, indoor, the staff can put them outside, clean the inside, and people can still see those animals. They can also spot clean throughout the day, and it's going to make quicker cleaning and disinfection during that time frame, because they're not going to have to take the animal out, put it in the hallway, block the entire row off for cleaning. It can take them 2 to 3 hours for one row because they cannot move the animal to another destination. It is also healthier for the animals. So you are giving them fresh air and helping to keep bacteria from building up by having that airflow, the sunlight, which makes for healthier dogs, which makes for more appealing adoptions. So it's a twofold portion of it.
And I know that you touched on this, Al, as well. I just couldn't imagine the city spending $500,000 on a temporary facility that, quite frankly, we were going to use again. So I want to make sure that we incorporate that money into part of that plan moving forward to make sure that we had permanent facilities, and this is what this gives us. So that's all I wanted to say, Mayor, about that.
That's good. So let's start it on the dais. Mary, we'll start with you. Questions?
Yes. So each of these pods will have their own HVAC system, correct?
Yes.
The drain issue, it'll be the proper size then now in these new pods. Does this money include anything with like in the main body that we have right now? Because that drainage system has been awful for a while.
So this money is not allocating in that. However, on the side, in our other budgetary money, we are currently working on that. We've had the plumbers out multiple times assessing the main lines as well as the individual drains from the kennels. We have gotten an estimate to assess, they call them P-traps, between each of the kennels to the main line. We have gotten an estimate as far as them assessing every single one of them in that main area. Some of them are broke, some of them are just clogged. And so they're going to be going to each and every one to assess them and unclog the ones that are clogged, and then the ones that are broken, we are going to assess cost of repair or sealing off.
No, and so you already have that cost?
We're already working in that, yes.
Okay, and so it's separate budget. Is that going to throw us over budget or?
That is being worked on.
That's a separate agenda item than what we're discussing now, right?
Okay. Well, so what's this going to increase our capacity to?
Real quick, though, I just want to say, I guess in answer to your last question, we are well aware that we have to continue to use that existing kennel until this can be built. So yes, we are addressing those other issues through a separate budget.
Okay. Is this going to increase the overall capacity for our animals?
No, it is not. And that goes to the size of care versus size of building. So just because we put more kennels, do we have the staff and the time in the day to care for properly additional animals? We want to make sure that we are meeting the national standard of 15 minutes a day per animal. And in order to do that with the current staffing that we have, the 140 that we have reduced it to is the best accurate number.
So this 140 is we're still going to have a limit of 140 dogs, right?
Correct.
But this is more of a facility improvement, not necessarily a program improvement.
This is a program improvement because it is increasing the overall health of the animals that we are caring for right now to ensure that they are better for placement.
And if I can add, the current plan that we have to improve the existing kennel was not going to increase the number of kennels either. It was still going to be the same, but the health of the animals was not being considered. We were considering really improvement of the conditions for the people that are visiting the facility, and we're still doing that, but this also improves the health of the animals.
Okay. So our capacity is still going to be at 140 dogs? And how many cats?
I believe it's 120, 130 is where we sit at
Well,
regularly.
are these kennels primarily for dogs, or is there's
These
not
are-
going to be any cats?
This is
in
all
these?
addressing the dogs at
Okay.
this time. The proposed additional admin building that we were looking at, that would address the cats. It would
Okay.
also give us better stability as far as our strays, so that people could openly see that what strays have come in right from the start.
So we're not going to have an increase in staff. We're not going to need more people. We're not going to hire more people.
Eventually, we would like to see a foster coordinator and a volunteer coordinator, number one, so we can get volunteers in there, someone that can manage them full-time,
Right.
as well as a foster coordinator, so that we can look at having a foster program that would, in effect, increase our
Right.
capacity.
Okay, on this, but back on the pods, it's not going to require additional staff to do extra cleaning or anything like that?
No,
So
this
let
is,
me interrupt. It's been pointed out by other council. We need to keep the discussion topic on the agenda item. As far as operations and things, Mary, we'll get with somebody at a different time, but we need to keep this to the discussion of the topic here.
Okay, yeah, I'm still, on
Regarding
this,
the
on
pod-
this pod part, it's not going to require any additional staff?
no, this is actually going to hasten their cleaning process.
Okay, good.
So it's going to take less off them so that they can do more throughout the
So
day.
this $2 million would get all this. We're not going to get another, we need another 200,000 down the road. This is what we're looking at.
For the pods?
Yes.
We're comfortable that we can build at least 3 of these, and that's our plan, is to move forward with designing for 3, but with an alternate for 4 in case it does come in.
Okay, but we're looking to work within this 2 million.
Correct.
All right, good.
I would
That's,
just add on any project, keep in mind, depending on, I don't know what your time frame is, but if this waits, 6 months, a year,
Right,
or whatever,
yeah.
all of those numbers go out the window.
Yeah,
So
that's
just
why I
keep
just-
that in mind.
yeah.
very true,
And
yes.
the sooner we can get it going, the better. Good deal. That's all I have. Thank you both.
Karen?
I'll be quick. So could we please ask you to come back and see us in a few weeks and let us know what your progress is? Because we waited a long time and this is exciting.
Of course.
That would be awesome if we could have that on a repeating basis, maybe every 6 weeks or so. And development triggers a pre-development meeting with Planning and Development Services, typically. Have you guys already sat down with the Planning Department and spoken to them about all the things that can come up and ensure that we are ready to
Not
move
yet,
forward?
but that is in the works.
Okay, super good, great, thank you.
Cool. Patrick?
My math isn't mathing. At 3 pods, we're at 72, correct?
Correct.
That's half of what we're currently at
4
140.
would be a total of 96 kennels.
Right.
Right now, we have 120 kennels, but 30 of them are down because they flood. So we're down to 90. So we would have 96 kennels with 4 pods. So we would be right at the same.
At where we're at currently.
Correct.
Is there any way to utilize the good parts of our old kennel and keep our capacity up in any way?
So we would have to look at all of that because our goal in getting out of that main general admission area is to increase health and welfare of the animals.
Agreed.
I think if we stay with the old, we're still accumulating those problems that end up costing us in the end because of medical needs and things of that nature.
No, agree. And I love that. And from everything I've talked to you about, that is, at the end goal of everything you said, it is the ultimate welfare of the animal.
Correct.
And so I commend you on that. I don't think enough people see that or understand that. I think you always have that in mind. I hate going down in capacity overall over our original 140, right? I understand why or 120 or 140.
We're at 140.
Okay. I understand our reasoning for going lower. I just hate the future plan to be that low number. I'd rather see it a high number. Is there a space to continue to add pods if somehow we found the funds to do it?
Well, and remember, when you're talking about these pods, that's 96 in general admission. Okay, that does not even include our isolation area, our quarantine area, our puppy area. Those accumulated is going to keep us at the 140, if not a little over from time to time. This morning, we were sitting at 148. So while we are over capacity, I have things in the works that a lot of animals are going out on Thursday, so I am withholding making any decisions until after Thursday. And that's the way it will work even with these pods.
We'll still have the other facilities that,
We'll still have isolation, we'll
Yeah.
still have quarantine, we'll still have the puppy ward, and that would be assimilated into the additional admin building at a later time.
gotcha. So back to that, and again, and that's going to be, this goes back to the funding part, but is there going to be, with your overall plan, Alfonso, is there going to be room to add more if we were able to in the future?
I believe so. If you want to go back to so this,
Area right here.
yes, this is the overall plan. So, I mean, you can see there's areas where she just pointed out. We could do some here and move these large animal kennels around. I think there's areas where we could do that.
Okay. And we're calling them pods. Is that just the design of it? It's not an actual pre-built structure or anything like that?
Correct. These are concrete block buildings on a concrete slab.
Thank you.
Harry?
Thank you. I'm not going to reiterate everything that's been said, but I will have to say this is a unique concept, and I think utilizing the money that we were going to spend on a temporary shelter going into this is better use of the taxpayers' money. So I appreciate the concept, whoever brought it forward, and where we are today, and I will have to say, let's get it done.
Joe?
Sounds good to me. Better animal welfare. I mean, we still have the old facility if we needed it. It's just we're not planning on it because it needs to be fixed. So technically, we're not losing capacity. We're just going to use a better one.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
and we also have to have the staff for more capacity, which, again, it's a compounding thing. So, again, I'm in favor of this. Great deal. Thank you. I'm glad. Good concept, like Harry said.
Councilman Hebert?
I think my questions have been answered. Let me confirm. We'll have a final cost. Karen was talking about 6 weeks or so. We'll have a final cost of this, whether it's closer to 1.4 or 2.
We should have a better idea of it. By that time, the engineers will have been hired, and they will start designing. But because the first thing we need to do is firm down the plan, exactly how many kennels are in each one, and all that kind of stuff, and then we can put a better dollar figure, our own dollar figure on it, rather than relying on Abilene's.
Okay. So to Rick's point, costs are only going to keep going up.
Correct.
It would be my preference as one council member that if we can find the funding and see our way to do the 4 pods, let's do that, because it's only going to cost us more if we say, well, we'll do that later. That's just my one thought. I'm good. I like the concept.
Daniel, do you have an executive summary here?
Yeah, and Tommy, we can look at that, basically to combine the phase 1 and phase 2, but that's what you're saying at this point. And you're right, the longer it drags out, the more expensive this can get, so we'll take a look at that as well and see what that cost savings would be.
See if we can make it work now, even if they have to come back possibly and look at a little additional funding above the 2 million. Let's just see how much above that would be if we can handle that.
We'll do, we'll work through that. The goal will be to actually keep it below the 2 million, and so we'll work toward that. But again, we really do feel that this, as far as the facility, and as Amanda mentioned a while ago, best practices is something that we want to get into. But if we're going to be doing the adoption portion of it as well, which we are, this is really the best way to go. And my recommendation, of course, is, and all we're looking for right now is your direction at this point. So, but the recommendation is to give us that direction and move forward and get this thing done.
All that, so Brandon, at this point, we need to vote on this one, or we're just giving direction?
Direction.
Motion.
So I think you've seen that. We'd much rather see funds be spent in something that's going to last for many years instead of temporary. With that, thank you all so much for your presentation.
Awesome.
All right, we'll move to item E, first reading and public hearing of an ordinance for PD 25-07, a request for a zone change from a single-family residential zoning district to a planned development with.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'm sorry, we had public comment on this item.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just on a presentation. All right. Heather, who do we have for public comment?
Tiffany Watson.
Tiffany, I'm sorry.
My name is Tiffany Watson. I'm from Single Member District 2. I do have a couple of points that are a little off agenda, so forgive me. Oh, yes. 2 months ago, I started sharing my videos of the shelter dogs. We've had thousands of views and at least 6 adoptions directly related to those videos. Last week, a dog was adopted within hours of posting his video. Not just one person, but 2 people went that same day to adopt him. He was the second longest stay. He had been there for months and no doubt would have been euthanized a few days later. So I encourage the city to put more effort towards promoting these dogs, and it will lead to higher adoption rates. These poor dogs at the shelter do not even have a yard. They never see sunshine or breathe fresh air unless a volunteer walks them. But if the city builds a new shelter in town, a shelter with ventilation, drains that work, faucets with actual water pressure, a yard for the dogs to get a chance to run, a shelter with just an inch of pride, it would make all the difference for the animals and our community. The shelter would no longer be out of sight, out of mind. It would no longer bring instant thoughts of disgust. People would see it daily, visit, talk about it, hear about it, volunteer, and adopt. If it weren't repulsive, social media outreach would be even more effective. The animals would be happier and have higher success rates. Organizations could get involved. People would be more likely to come to adoption events, and people could trust taking in strays, because right now they do not. It appears they are trying to make living conditions better at the shelter, but they are killing dogs to do it. Our money is being wasted trying to fix something that does not work and instead should go to doing things the right way. And on that, after hearing about the pods, I love the idea. I just think that there needs to be more of them. Also, the $150 adoption fee is too high. If someone wants to adopt the dog, they don't want to pay $150. They can find a free dog any day of the week online. They might say, I'll get them fixed later, but they don't. And a year or so later, the problem is multiplied, and it continues to multiply exponentially. But if that person knew you could save a healthy dog from the shelter for, say, $50, one that's already spayed, neutered, has all their shots, most people would choose that because people want to adopt. It really is that simple to prevent unnecessary unfixed dogs here. Animal Services is currently only working with one vet, so adopted dogs are sitting at the shelter for 3 or more weeks waiting to go home. This has cost so many dogs their lives due to space. The animals also deserve to have a scheduled euthanasia date posted. The community needs to be aware of the consequences so that we can come together to save as many as possible. Right now, they are killing perfect, highly adoptable dogs every week. Now they are even doing it with empty kennels available. In the past, our town really came together to help save the animals, and I know we could do it again. So this behavior of killing so frequently without warning, especially when there are empty kennels, it has to stop. It is not okay. It is completely unethical. I don't know how any of you have convinced yourself this is anything but evil. This does not include unadoptable dogs, and I know we cannot save them all. And I know animal services workers may not appreciate the backlash, but it is our community and our leaders who are at fault, which must be emphasized. The public needs the truth in order to hold each other accountable. Without that knowledge, change will never come. And I passed out packets that just have price comparisons for the adoption fees. You can adopt at Paws for $85. Houston is $50.
We've
Dallas
got
is
that.
free.
Heather's got it for us.
And Lubbock is $30. So why is ours $150? Thank you.
Thank you. Heather, is there any more public comment?